All right, now what I want to do, and basically what I'm going through here, and I want to quickly talk about how we think and the way that I think about things. So the way that most people teach stuff is they focus on tactics and techniques, right? Amazon store is this way to make money. I'm going to done for you Amazon store. Who's seen those fucking YouTube ads? God, that guy is annoying on his little hoverboard. Nobody likes you, bro. You're the reason I have to compete with you because you're so annoying that people think I'm a scammer too. But these people do, it's an Amazon store, it's a Walmart store. These are tactics, these are techniques, Facebook ads, YouTube ads. All of these things are technically techniques or tactics. They're not principle-based. Things change constantly in these different industries, right? But the principles of, say, copywriting have stayed the same more or less since it began. So the way that I like to think about thinking is your principles dictate your strategies, and then your strategies dictate your tactics and your techniques. So the way I learned this was from Rory Miller, who was a prison guard for 25 years. He's the guy who I learned a bunch of crazy self-defense shit from. And his whole way of teaching self-defense was based on principles and strategies dictate tactics and techniques. When you go to some McDojo place where they're teaching some sort of new martial art, one of the funniest experiences I ever had with martial arts was at Santa Cruz, and as in college, they had a ninjutsu. And by the way, my buddy Eric Rosner is here. I want to just shout him out. He did the cover for my book. Eric Rosner here. Give him a round of applause. He was my roommate in San Diego when we lived in an $800 a month apartment in San Diego, and I was literally writing copy in my underwear, mainly because we did not have air conditioning, and I was sweating. So things have changed a lot, but back when we were at Santa Cruz, I went to this ninjutsu club, and I had done ninjutsu because I'm a grown white male. And I go to the first class, and I'm like, all right, let's see what they're doing. And I go to throw, and this is the whole tactics, techniques thing, is I go to throw a punch, and the guy goes, whoa, 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 whoa. That's not how we throw punches in ninjutsu. And I was like, is that what you're going to say to a guy who attacks you? So, whoa, bro, I haven't trained for could you stop with the punch? I need you to do it like this. And he's like, I'm like, yeah, that seems very realistic. That's how they're going to do it. They're like, hey, sir, just so you know, I'm about to punch you. Are you prepared? Have you trained for this technique? That's not how shit works. Tactics and techniques only work in specific situations, right? So a block, even fundamentally, the idea of blocking in self-defense is a flawed way of teaching because it implies that you have to be faster than the other person. If you're blocking, all you're doing is blocking. We used to do that in Kung Fu. We did this drill where you just block. It's like, okay, this seems cool. When the fuck do I hit the guy? I don't get to hit him because I'm just blocking shit. And we do this stuff and we just keep moving. And it's like, that's not very useful. So I like to focus on shit that actually works. When it comes to self-defense, that was the whole teaching, was the principles dictate the strategies, strategies dictate tactics and techniques. So when it comes to making money, it's the same way. What are your principles? You've got to create your own set of rules of different things you're willing to invest in, things you're willing to do. I personally have taken a very strong stance on my moral beliefs of what I'm willing to do to make money. I would say I've stepped over a lot of dollar bills to pick up pennies, but those pennies over the course of 5 years have turned into $10 bills, $100 bills, and much more money. There are lots of people who make money in shitty ways, especially in the online marketing industry, who they start to move into that little gray area, suddenly they're in the black, and what happens is those people rarely keep their money because they don't feel okay about how they earned it. Those are the guys blowing 10K the night that they made their first $20,000 day. They're at the club that night, throwing 10 grand at bottle service unconsciously because they don't feel worthy of that money, because they don't feel good about the way that it was earned. It's much easier to keep your money if you are a moral, ethical human being and not a piece of shit. So it's actually helpful to be ethical, okay? But when it comes to these principles and strategies, that's what I want you to focus on, is think about the strategies of money. Crypto, buying a certain coin would be attacked. I'm going to buy this coin. But your strategy or your principle would be, I only invest in companies with real utility, right? So you have actual strategies that dictate the way you do things, okay? Is that helpful for anybody of how to think about these things? Anytime you focus on only tactics, those things can always disappear. Tactics only work in specific situations. Strategies and principles are universal.